Welcome to the Darksomnium. Today, I bring you a collection of short stories by the author, Evan the Nerd, with a guest narration by Todd Mckenzie.
File document, security tape, event 1092-24, evidence. Case file number 1092-TGSE. Event designated the gas station entity. Description.
Excerpt of a transcript of security tape recovered from a gas station in site number 192, formerly known as Ridgemont, Nevada, following event 1092-E24. 0200 hours. The register clerk is sitting behind the desk, listening intently to a telecommunication device with earbuds. Security camera feed switches to a view of the soda aisle, capturing a split-second image of anomaly 1092, manifesting as a shadow forming along the far wall. Anomaly 1092 dematerializes within seconds. Camera suffers from generic static distortion. Camera feed switches back to the view of the clerk, continuing to listen to her telecommunication device. Subject has moved to the window overlooking the gas pumps. Looking out of it, movement indicates that the subject has sighed. She looks at her telecommunication device over a period of 2 minutes before entering the restroom. Desk camera experiences electrical distortion with static replacing the view of the desk. Camera captures exterior lights flickering repeatedly, a brief image of anomaly 1092 as the general outline flashes on screen, similar to that of 1092-E23 in appearance. Location of the entity is pressed against the glass. Subject has not yet left the restroom in 2 minutes. Although she has not exited the building, static distortion materializes within general area of the ladies' restroom and blocks out the door. Anomaly 1092 is briefly seen through the static, standing close to the door. Static distortion increases as bright illumination can be seen coming from behind the restroom door, reflecting off the glass of the window. Exterior lights fail all at once due to anomalous causes, and all lights within the station die. Static distortion increases to the point that all recorded images are indescribable from the static. Illumination emanating from the restroom envelops the entire station's interior. Significant damage to security cameras. Severe electromagnetic, electronic damage leads to loss of cameras. Notes. Remains of subject never recovered by
Data expunged.
operatives presumed
Data expunged.
by anomaly 1092. Sightings of anomaly 1092 continue to be reported across Nevada and New Mexico. Case open.
Beneath our feet, the thing below is sleeping. It has slept for hundreds of centuries. It was already here when the first primate stood up on its hind legs. It lived through the asteroid impact that killed all the dinosaurs and more events since then. It's as old as the Earth herself. Its many, many tentacles which stretch across the world have wilted with age, and its eyes are closed. However, it can still feel and see. I can still feel the way the earth breathes and shudders when we drill deep into her warm innards. It is smart enough to know that we're getting closer to it. We don't know about it, and if we did, we would stop drilling instantly. But we don't care. It knows that we don't care about her well-being as we cut off her hair for paper and homes, and harvest her sweat for our own drinking and bathing purposes, and spread out across her great body. It has watched as we inflicted pain on her and used her like parasites without any remorse, despite all the signs of her failing health. It knows that we won't care even as our drills break the barrier between it and us, and it's waiting for that very day. Because then it will finally be free from its shell, and it will wake up.
Futon. The moment I saw my cat dart underneath my futon, I froze. Her tiny body, sleek and covered in jet black fur, crossed the distance between my bedroom door and the futon in an instant, like a lightning bolt. I dropped the book I was reading and dove for her, my heart jackhammering and arms outstretched, but I was too late. Allie was too fast. She had already squeezed her way between the cardboard boxes that were pushed in front of the futon. Her tail disappeared, joining the darkness. I knew what was going on. I closed my eyes. My initial shock turned into an overwhelming cold numbness through my body. I waited for the inevitable. The silence soon shattered as a loud, panicked hiss came from the darkness. It ended, and more followed. Then, the futon cushions rose and fell. Allie was jumping around in rage. I heard her frantic slapping against something unseen, something wet and something organic. I sobbed, but couldn't stop listening. It lasted a few moments. More hissing, more clawing, the crackling of carpet and torn front and hind claws, slurping. Allie's hissing cut off with a final meow. Long and weak, the slurping soon followed. The black mouth underneath my futon then began to chew. A magician's book. Little Chaz wanted to be a magician, and for his 7th birthday, he went to the park where all his friends and family had held a party, and where he found the book with an eye laying against a tree. If Chaz hadn't opened it up and flipped to a random page, he wouldn't have noticed the property of sticker that displayed the author's name. Chaz saw what was written inside the leather-bound journal. There were spells and odd symbols he didn't know of. A few of them were in Latin, while others were in broken and scrawling English. He couldn't understand what they meant, but he could say them. His grandfather had taught him how to say Latin words correctly, and only how to speak them. So he began to read one such spell. If he had learned how to understand Latin, he would have realized what the name of the spell was. He would have seen the warning written above the 5 words. Caligne, Chaz whispered as he read the first word. It rolled off his tongue with amateur articulation, hanging in the empty air. The wind began to pick up as he reached the second word, oculi. He continued on, tenant. When he spoke the third word, the woods fell silent, aside from the distant chatting of his parents and the other kids. Every bird stopped chirping. Manu. The moment he finished speaking the 4th, a chill ran down his spine and goosebumps rose up his arms. Tua. And when he finally uttered the 5th word, the woods changed. Thick fog swirled around the trees and the sounds from the party turned to gasps and yells. Chaz felt cold wrap around his body. The book's pages started to glow, the light providing not heat, but more cold, angry cold. He coughed, he shivered, he screamed, and yet the words continued to pour out of his mouth, repeated over and over again. His voice echoed above the fierce wind. The fog constricted. It clenched its ever-present hand into a fist, and then it was gone. And by the time that Chaz's parents ran over to where they'd heard his screams, all that remained was his top hat and the book that his grandfather had burned before his death.
My belief. Ghosts aren't real. I know that some of you who follow my blog think that since I write horror stories, I believe in ghosts. But that's wrong. I may write tales about dark things, stalking, and moonlight, but I do not believe in ghosts. Let me make one thing clear. I do believe in the paranormal, just not ghosts. Cryptids, demons, aliens, and the like are more plausible than remaining vestiges of the human soul being left behind after the body's death. It might sound hypocritical in some aspects, but it's the truth. Despite all the evidence, no one can convince me that ghosts exist. And the evidence? Well, it's fake. Don't take everything that the television shows or what people say at face value. It should be obvious to anyone who is a rational thinking adult that people lie. Photographs can be altered and photoshopped to show the image of a shadowy figure standing behind a curtain. Witnesses who have lived in haunted houses are either crazy, high on some crack, or just playing the crowd for attention. Even video isn't safe from being manipulated. Look, I know that the thought of dying scares some people and that we believe in an afterlife to combat the soul-crushing certainty that nothing exists beyond this world. And I understand why. I don't care if you do believe in spirits. But as for me, I have no reason to. Not one of my victims has ever come back to haunt me.
They say space is a strange place. On July 14th of 2014, an unknown object was spotted by the Hubble Space Telescope. NASA scientists discovered that the object was heading directly towards the solar system, but at an exceedingly moderate speed. They calculated that at the rate of speed the object was going, it would take approximately 20 weeks for it to reach Earth. The object was on a collision course with the planet. When the world learned of the upcoming apocalypse, it fell into chaos. Around the globe, governments fell through either direct cause or by hysteria in their ranks. Religious leaders declared that the end of the world was upon them, and millions fled to churches and to places of worship to pray. Violence rose up in the populations, and millions more either killed others in cold blood or killed themselves. Many families committed suicide, and the President of the United States disappeared alongside Congress and the Department of Defense, rumored to have relocated to an underground bunker. During the panic, NASA finally managed to receive a view of the object. They discovered that the object wasn't a comet, or an extraterrestrial craft, or an asteroid. Rather, the object was a planet, which was the size of the Earth. When they discovered what the planet looked like, they kept the revelation a secret from panicking masses. On the day of impact, December 1st, 2014, the world held its breath as the planet approached Earth. Its gravitational force was so powerful as it moved closer to the planet, the tides of the ocean were distorted to the point that massive tidal waves were created and coastline cities were wiped out. The remaining survivors looked up at the now globally visible planet and went mad as it came into view. They screamed in horror alongside with the inhabitants of the planet itself as the Earth collided with the Earth.